Oh, hello, I'm Brad Miller.
Good morning, Mike DeBreezy, City of Largo.
Rob Walker, Commissioner of the great city of Dunedin.
Barbara Hazelton, County Commission Representative. Do you want us?
Chris Shear, Pinellas County Commission.
Max McCann, citizen appointee for St. Petersburg. Good morning.
Good morning, great, thank you for the introductions, everybody. Now is the time for public comment. Excuse me, are there any members of the public who wish to speak on agenda or non-agenda items? Seeing none, I close public comment. The October 22nd, 2025 minutes, can I have a motion to approve those minutes, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion passes. First up, Mr. Money, Al Burns, in his money green suit to outline the contract for Tampa Bay Ferry Service.
Thank you for the compliment, Mr. Chair, appreciate it. Good morning, Finance Committee. Al Burns, your highly motivated procurement director. And today I'm here to present a recommendation for the Tampa Bay Ferry contract. There are multiple recommendations for you to make regarding the Tampa Bay Ferry, and we've organized them into three different categories, A, B, and C. But you can take one vote to approve all three as a package if you choose to. A, recommend approval of a 5-year identical interlocal agreement with the cities of Tampa and St. Petersburg to provide the necessary operating funds for the future Tampa Bay ferry service. B, recommend approval of a 5-year contract with one 5-year option for a total of 10 years to Tampa Bay Sea Taxi Incorporated Hubbards for an amount not to exceed $16,590,000 over the 10 years and authorize the CEO to exercise the one 5-year option. And C, approve a no-cost contract amendment to this proposed PSTA's contract with Tampa Bay Sea Taxi, Inc. to provide alternative docking locations and add dock licenses and permits required by the city of St. Petersburg and the city of Tampa. So again, first is the funding agreements, A. Second is the operating agreements, B. And C, the alternative docking locations if necessary, but we don't project that we'll need to use them. Today's Finance Committee recommendation and the December 3rd board vote are historic and are only possible thanks to many of the PSTA partners throughout the region. Of course, I want to recognize our potential future operating contract, Tampa Bay Sea Taxi or Hubbard's Marina. And I don't see Tara here, so I think I got a text, she's still stuck in traffic, so she'll be joining us a little bit later. And I'll discuss in the subsequent slide their proposal in greater detail. But first, I want to recognize our regional partners. First, the Hart Board that voted back in June to transfer the funds for the vessel. Thank you, Hart. The Federal Transit Administration confirmed the transfer in July. Thank you, FTA. I also want to thank the city staff from St. Petersburg and Tampa that served on the RFP evaluation team back in August and September, and they unanimously recommended Tampa Bay Sea Taxi Hubbards over 3 competing and well-developed proposals. I want to thank Adam, and also I want to thank Evan from the city of Tampa and the city of St. Petersburg. And of course, I want to thank my peers here at the PSTA staff that was on the evaluation committee. Next, I want to thank the staff. mayors, and city councils from the city of St. Petersburg and Tampa, who each voted on November 6th to approve the 5-year funding agreements needed to support the operating expenses planned for the ferry service. Those agreements have already been signed by Mayor Castor and Mayor Welch and are in your packet and your recommendation as part of Part A. Good morning, Tara. The Cross Bay service, which ran for the previous Cross Bay service, which ran for 7 years on a seasonal basis, was very popular with many trips during the final season, often selling out in both directions. Several surveys were done on the ridership during that period. Some of the findings of the surveys were that the vast majority of the riders were from the local area. 90% were from the local area. Nearly all the riders spent money in their destination city on things like dinner, going to museums, and I'm looking at you, Commissioner Hazelton, and shopping. 2/3 of the trips were induced, but 1/3 were replaced planned trips across the bay. The pilot generated economic return with our proposed Hubbard's operating service cutting the subsidies in half. We believe our return will be even stronger. Earlier this year, Ford Pinellas completed a regional survey of Tampa Bay residents about waterborne service. And the top requested connections were between St. Petersburg and Tampa. The survey also noted that as just as 16% of the ridership on the pilot Cross Bay Ferry showed, the majority of the ridership demand was not just for Tampa Bay Lightning games or other events similar to that, but instead acts as a true regional connection between both cities of St. Petersburg and Tampa. I'm very proud to recommend a 5-year contract with an additional 5-year option for a total of 10 years to Tampa Bay Sea Taxi, Hubbard's Marina. They have facilities in Madeira Beach. They have facilities in Madeira Beach and in Gulfport, right here in Pinellas County. Let me introduce you to them again. Good morning. As you probably know, they have nearly a century, 100 years of significant maritime experience in the Tampa Bay waters and have contract partners including vessel manufacturers that will ensure that we make the best, most cost-effective decision on vessel acquisition. Included in your packet is confirmation from their insurance broker that they have all the significantly increased insurance we required in place for this agreement. The recommended contract with Hubbard's is $16.95 million over a 10-year period. While that is definitely substantial, it actually represents a significant reduction in the required subsidy compared to the prior cross-based ferry service. During 2017, the Cross Bay Ferry, where the vendor brought a vessel from Boston for just 7 months out of the year. This service required 4 municipalities. It required the city of Tampa, the city of St. Petersburg, Pinellas County, and Hillsborough County. They each provided $350,000 in subsidy for a total of $1.4 million in annual subsidy. Now, under this proposed contract, the subsidy is cut in half. And we project that we'll be able to operate 25% more service on a year-round basis. Hubbard submitted a very well-developed proposal. And we believe that these efficiencies were also gained by using the FTA grant to purchase the vessel and encouraging local competition. Thank you, Edith, for reaching out and getting us a lot of competition. Commissioner Share, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
At previous meetings, you noted concerns about where the city of St. Petersburg will locate the ferry terminal. You're concerned that it might not be located in the Vinoy Basin shown on the map. Excuse me. But rather the St. Pete Port, which is about a mile from the Vinoy Basin and outside of the heart of downtown St. Petersburg. We heard you, everybody, we told everybody, and we shared your concerns with everybody. PSTA staff, the Hubbards, and luckily the entire St. Petersburg City Council knew how important it would and necessary approvals to accomplish the first initial temporary dock and ultimately construct a permanent ferry terminal in the Vinoy Basin. In your packet are the minutes from the St. Pete City Council meeting of November 6th, where you can see that in addition to unanimously approving the interlocal agreement with the funding, they unanimously also approved the resolution proposed by our chair, Deborah Figgs Sanders, to direct staff to prioritize the North Vinoy Basin as a docking location. Thank you, Chair. The city comprehensive plan will need to be amended, but we are told that this is anticipated to be accomplished in the coming months. So by the time the vessels are acquired, we are very confident that the city will have approved the North Vinoy Basin location. The city of Tampa has already approved their docking location and is right downtown behind the Tampa Bay Convention Center. Today's vote is an important vote, and it's the first step in the process in building a sustainable, long-lasting ferry service that will be a fixture of transportation in the Tampa Bay region. We are thrilled to get this to this point, but there's still a lot of work to be done. The contract with the Hubbards is broken up into two phases. Phase one is for vessel acquisition. Following the PSTA's board consideration for the Hubbards contract on December 3rd, they, along with the vessel manufacturers on their team, will conduct a nationwide search and make recommendations to the best, make recommendations to PSTA on the best vessels to acquire. Are you ready, Tara?
I'm ready.
Meanwhile, we'll be working with the city of St. Petersburg on securing the North Vinoy Basin for the docking location, as well as the city of Tampa's terminal. It'll take some time to accomplish all of this, but we're gonna do like we always do. We're gonna roll up our sleeves and work efficiently and expediently as possible on all these items to bring reliable and sustainable ferry service back to the citizens who want and deserve it. So, Mr. Chair, committee members, this morning, I'm bringing to you a recommendation and recommending you approve 3 items, and you're welcome to do it in a combined single vote. Item A, recommend approval of a 5-year identical interlocal agreements with the cities of St. Petersburg and the city of Tampa to provide the necessary operating funds for the future Tampa Bay ferry service. Thank you, Darden, for shepherding that. B, recommend approval of a 5-year contract with 1 5-year option to Tampa Bay Sea Taxi Incorporated Hubbards for an amount not to exceed $16,590,000 and authorize the CEO to exercise the 1 5-year option. And C, approve a no-cost contract amendment to this contract with Tampa Bay Sea Taxi Hubbards to provide alternative docking locations and permits required by the cities of St. Petersburg and city of Tampa. Mr. Chair, committee members, This concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Al. This is certainly exciting times for PSTA and the region with this ferry, so I know we're gonna have a lot of questions, so who would like to ask the first question of Al? Mr. Walker?
So so I understand, for item C up there, that is in a sense pending St. Petersburg City Council approval of the Vinoy Basin. Is that
So, there's multiple items in C. There are the permits for the seawall permit for the city of Tampa, the agreement for the port, and the agreement for the and the agreement for the Vinoy Basin. The port is an option just in case.
Okay, and all of those are still pending approval?
No, sir. We've worked with general counsel and all the all of the agreements are in place. Additionally, I've already sent them to the Hubbards for their review.
Great. And so for phase one of the contract, what's that timeline look like exactly?
I can tell you, Brad and the Hubbards are gonna look at me December 4th and say, Al, let's go. But without jest, we plan on, I'm working with one of my staff members, Ms. Dana McDonald. She's already developed a draft action plan for phase one, and we plan on starting that endeavor as soon as if willing, as soon as the board passes. So we're gonna start immediately. I don't know exactly what the timeline looks like, but we're gonna work, like I said, expeditiously and expediently.
Thanks. And that $16,590,000, does that include the cost for the acquisition of the ferries themselves?
Very good question, Commissioner Walker. No, it does not. The acquisition of the ferry is a separate funding source that we've gotten from FTA, and I think the value of that was
Okay.
$4.8 million.
Yeah, okay. All right, no, I have no further questions.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes. I don't know whether it's appropriate for me to ask Deborah about the conversations at the city council on the basin, because I know the change in locations of the basin before really plummeted the ridership. When it moved from the North Vinoy Basin down to the port. And so it sounds like there's still a contingency or still a kind of a it sounds like that's not in concrete about the location in St. Petersburg. So, I'm not comfortable with thinking that that could still change by the city council. So what was the concern there, and where is that left as far as an open end?
So first of all, good morning, everyone.
Thank you.
morning.
How are you?
Thanks for being here.
So the concern is not of ours. We have to get approval for the change of our comprehensive plan. So as you heard Mr. Burns' report, the council was unanimous on it. And they actually approved the resolution for that to be a first priority. So it's not a concern for council. It's more so for us getting permission through our comprehensive plan to actually move it there.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not concerned with it, but just like everything else, there are steps that we as a city have to take to ensure we can place it in the North Vinoy Basin. Does that make sense?
Well, it still sounds like that so who's in charge of the comprehensive plan? Is that the city
Well, the
council?
city is, and then we actually have.
The city council?
City of St. Petersburg, yes, the city of St. Petersburg. But we still have to receive the change to the comprehensive plan to actually vote on that change. And I don't see a personal problem with that, nor do I see a professional problem with that. But we just can't say we're gonna move it. There are steps that we actually have to take in changing the location. Because it is a very, very, very strong notification that we are not looking for the port to be the destination.
And Madam Chair, Commissioner Hazelton, if I could just add, from everything we've been told by the attorneys in St. Petersburg and the staff, is that they have researched what needs to be done to get it back before the city council for a vote to amend their comprehensive plan. And they've described that that can happen in a matter of months. I guess there's some public hearings that have to go, you amend your city comprehensive plan and things like that, but hopefully by the springtime, that will happen. And meanwhile, we'll be looking for the vessel.
Well, excuse me, Chair.
No. Go
Are
ahead.
you finished?
I
No,
think
no,
it'll
go.
take 3 public hearings. The city has to approve it, then Fort Pinellas have to approve it, then the Pinellas County Commission would have to approve it. So, we better giddy up, get moving, because it's gonna take could take 6 months to get
At least.
the comprehensive plan amended. And that was my other question, the temporary docks that they used to have, it was my understanding the city was going to get those temporary docks back together, the ones that were right there on the seawall. Is that still the plan?
Yes.
And I don't think that one will take as long because it's temporary and we had
Right.
permits for it before.
Yes, so now you know why we were trying to rush it through the city of St. Petersburg, because I can't remember, what was the original date? We were moving a little slow, so we actually put in, thank you Darden for working with Evan on that. So yes, it was very important for us that we expedite this because of the timing issue. So again, thank you Commissioner Sherrill for making that point.
Commissioner Hazelton?
I'm always the problem. And of course, I'm a resident of St. Pete too. But, and I'm also been, dealing in contract negotiations all my life. So it's concerning to me that we could continue to put everything together and then get to a point and one of the most important pieces of the puzzle could blow up on us. Am I alone in that concern?
What's a concern, but I mean, in any big planning, you've got the potential of something sidetracking it, so I guess to clarify, Commissioner Hazelton doesn't ask my own question. Section C is in the event we run into problems with St. Pete or the county and we go back to what?
To the, to the port,
To the board, which
Yes,
is the mile south of,
yes, sir,
okay.
exactly correct.
And if we had to do that, what are the projections showing the effect on ridership?
We've already seen the projection, with the result of that.
Well, yeah, I'm talking, but
Before, yeah, it did drop the ridership maybe 20%
okay.
from where it was, because of the Illinois.
I had a question.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Do our contracts with the interlocal agreements provide us the ability to withhold funding for the ferry until the permits and the docks are complete?
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Do we have the right in our agreements with the cities to withhold funding for the ferry until the docks, either the temporary dock at the Vinoy Basin or the main dock at the Vinoy Basin has been completed? I don't wanna see this ferry running until it's at the basin. I don't think it should start at the Coast Guard station because it would just kill the,
I defer that to Darden, she worked on the interlocal agreement more so than I.
We will be starting at a temporary location, like on the seawall, which
Okay.
is where we were before.
for sure.
And in the time while we get the funding and the permits approved for building a new permanent dock, which would be on, behind the St. Petersburg Museum of History. In that time, we would presumably be able to go through those months of the public hearings to get it approved and get the land use issue taken care of. And I would also add that the usage of docks for large boats or ferries in the North Vinoy Basin was contemplated and is reflected in the waterfront master plan, which has been reaffirmed by council every 5 years.
I don't know if that was
Help me
the
out
case.
here, but it's not coming out of nowhere. This is a use that has been very widely debated, strongly supported. So I think, from what I understand, St. Petersburg is expecting a positive resolution of this. And thank you for your support, Commissioner, because they've heard loud and clear how important this is, and Commissioner Hazelton.
And can I add for point of clarification, Darden being former council member, long before I was there, was engaged in those conversations, I think prior to our being there, but from the input and the feedback that we've gotten. That is the request from our business owners, our constituents, everyone around in that area, because again, there is very strong support for this. So I'm glad that everyone has concerns. We should always have concerns. And Commissioner Hazelton, you are not always the only one. You're asking the questions that other people want to have answers to. So I appreciate that from you. Thank you. Thank you, Al.
Yes, I'd like a follow-up question. So what caused the location to be moved from the Vanoy Basin to the port? You know, during the last
During the pilot
program, yeah.
program, I think it ran from the Vanoy Basin for 6 years or so.
6 years.
And then the city of St. Petersburg needs an Army Corps permit to operate from the Vanoy Basin, and that ran out. And the Army Corps, it doesn't seem like Pinellas County, because they rejected it, and then that forced the initial move to the port. In the last couple of years, the city has gotten a new Army Corps permit to allow operating from the Vanoy Basin. So that's taken care of now. And then this issue with the comprehensive plan has just come up that we're now addressing. But
So how long is the permit good for? The new permit with the Army Corps, because they have not been too friendly to
I
us.
think it's 10 years, at least 10 years.
Well, can we see a copy of that?
I think it's in the contract. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I can confirm that, yeah.
I'll confirm it with Brad and we'll make sure it's in the packet.
Yeah,
before
that's
the board meeting.
important, that's great.
I have a follow-on question based on this. So what I see here is 3 timelines. The first one is the award of the contract, and then the subsequent ramp up and execution of the contract, which I understand will include Hubbard's involvement in the ferry acquisition.
Yes, sir, that's phase 1, yes, sir,
Okay, so there's a timeline there, which is ferry acquisition.
yes.
Okay. And then the second timeline is the comprehensive plan approval.
Yes, well, I think all those are gonna be going in tandem.
Yeah,
They'll be happening in tandem.
right, okay, that was my third part of this is all of this is presumed and assumed to be run in parallel.
Yes, sir, exactly right, roger that.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Al?
Oh, he's getting the answer.
I don't see an expiration date on this.
I think it was 10 years.
We'll make sure it's in the packet before the board meeting, man.
It is in the packet under the additional exhibits, but I can't tell how long it is. It's interesting.
While Brad's looking for that, do we, and maybe the Chair Sanders knows, do we know why the city, when the Army Corps permit expired, why the city wasn't applying for it, or what can we do to prevent that from happening again?
What I'll do, because I wasn't involved in that, I don't wanna just give an answer just to answer. So if I can get that, I'm texting Evan now. So what is your question again?
When it expired a few years ago, the Army Corps permit, why did it expire?
I'm sorry, I just got to clarify. The Army Corps permit does not expire because they moved away from temporary service. So because it's permanent, the permit is permanent, and we'll get the copy to confirm that.
Was that Evan?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm glad you did. Was that Evan?
Hot off the
That's who I was
press.
texting. Okay.
Is that a certificate or what?
What was the question?
My guess would be it's a
Contract.
signed letter on letterhead.
Yeah.
It's in your packet.
It
I'm
is?
trying to
Yeah.
find it.
Under the additional exhibits,
Yeah.
the very back of that.
So is there any risk of it ever expiring again? I guess that's the question.
Yeah.
No, the one caveat is that when it's issued, that the city has until September of 2029 to finish the construction. So they don't just give carte blanche permits and then the city never builds anything or takes 20 years to get it done. So that's I think the reasonable requirement for holding the permit on a permanent basis.
Any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion? And I guess housekeeping, you said we can approve all three or each individually?
Yes, sir. You can approve all three at the same time, or you can approve them individually, whatever the pleasure of the committee.
And again,
Motion
you as
to approve
mayor
all
is
three?
recommending it.
Make a motion to approve all three.
Thank you. Having a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Alan, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members.
That's great news, that's fun. All right, Bonnie Sato, did I pronounce that right, Bonnie?
Yeah.
All right, Director of Mobility is gonna go over our TransDev contract. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Bonnie Sato, Director of Mobility at PSTA here. And I'm here to talk to you about leasing PSTA vehicles to TransDev to operate our new Snapper service and a change to the insurance requirements for the TransDev fleet. So I have two separate action items for you to approve. So the first one is an amendment to our existing contract with TransDev to increase the vehicle insurance requirements to the level of insurance that TransDev already has for their vehicles and to add PSTA leased vehicles with that amendment. And the second item is to approve a lease agreement to add PSTA vehicles to the existing contract with TransDev. Both of these items are cost neutral to PSTA. We won't be paying anything additional, nothing additional going to TransDev for either of these. So a little bit of background about the Snapper service. So the Snapper service is a new service in North County. It launched on October 26th as part of the Connected Community Bus Network. So it's a very new service. These on-demand service zones, there's one in Safety Harbor and one in Clearwater. They replaced some lower performing fixed routes. So far they're doing great. Riders can travel anywhere within each of the zones, get picked up or dropped off anywhere as long as one of the pickup or drop off points is either Park Street Terminal or Countryside Mall for the Clearwater zone or Countryside Mall for the Safety Harbor zone. So this slide has a little snapshot, a little dashboard that I have of how the Clearwater service zone is doing on 2 different days. So this first day is October 27th, that's just a day after the service launched. We saw 4 boardings or 4 trips on the Clearwater zone on that day, 4 total boardings. But just a week later, on November 5th, the ridership had increased to 15 boardings for that day. So we really think that over time, the ridership is just gonna continue to grow. Riders are gonna hear about the service and we'll see more ridership on both services for the Snapper. So due to the anticipated increase in ridership, we'd like to have vehicles with higher seating capacity for both of the zones. Right now, the TransDev vehicles that are running for this service are the traditional paratransit vans. They have the capacity for 4 ambulatory customers. And having been ridden on one of the TransDev vans with me as being one of the 4 ambulatory customers, it's definitely a tight fit if you're one of the 4. So the vehicles that we plan to lease to TransDev to operate this service, they have seating capacity for up to 16 ambulatory riders, which should accommodate a lot of growth that we may see on this service. The vehicles that we plan to lease to TransDev aren't being used, and so we'll just lease them over to TransDev and they'll use those vehicles to operate the Snapper service. So again, the action is to amend our existing contract with TransDev to increase the vehicle insurance requirements to the level of insurance that TransDev already has for vehicles and to add these leased vehicles from PSTA to Transdev. And then the second is just the lease agreement to add the vehicles to the existing contract with Transdev. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Bonnie. Any questions for Bonnie?
Is there a lease rate?
Sorry?
$1 or,
Okay,
I mean,
$1.
we're giving them, letting them
Okay.
use them for $1.
Correct, sir.
Cost neutral.
Definitely cost neutral.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty cost neutral.
Any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, having a first and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, motion passes. Okay, Al's gonna come back up and talk to us about the Microsoft Enterprise Agreement licensing.
Microsoft is coming.
Yeah.
Good morning again, Mr. Chair, committee members, Al Burns. I'm your highly motivated procurement director. Just a little bit of background on this. This is more or less a routine purchase. Just like every organization, there's major softwares, and we use Microsoft, the whole suite, PowerPoint, as you can see, Excel, Word, and all those various things. At the end of the day, as my colleague, Mr. Campello, and I say, bottom line up front, these licenses have expired. And right now, we went and we're here to renew the licenses for that whole suite. And a couple of new licenses are included in this as well. On October of this year, we released an invitation for bid, and it was issued in compliance with all of our policies and procedures. And it was posted in 2 places, on DemandStar and on our website, our Bonfire. On November 4th, we received competition. We received 4 bids. CDW Government LLC, Shay2 Incorporated, CloudFit Software LLC, SHI International Corporation, and Technology Solutions Worldwide LLC. I'd like to, as a point of interest, SHI International Corporation was the incumbent, and they provided the licenses the last time. In your packet, you'll see the bid tab. And you'll notice that Technology Solutions Worldwide was significantly more cost effective for the agency. Because of the gap or the spread in pricing, the procurement department, we did a deep dive on Technology Solutions and checked, and they're a reputable company and are able to do business here in the state of Florida. We verified that they're on Sunbiz as recent as yesterday. Also, in addition, I asked Kessia, my colleague, Kessia Harris, the IT Information Technology Director, she reviewed the bids and the pricing and determined that the pricing is fair and reasonable. Mr. Chair, just to dwell on this a little bit more, there are resellers that are known as value-added resellers. And they're able to get us pricing because they get economies of scale. So they're able to pass that savings on to the end user, in this case, which is PSTA. As I mentioned before, we did a responsibility check on this company, and everything is checked out, and they're not on this, Commissioner Walker, you're familiar with this, they're not on SAMs or anything, they're good to go. The fiscal impact of this is funded by operating funds, is included in our budget. So in conclusion, the recommendation that I bring before you is recommend approval of a 1-year contract with 2 1-year options to Technology Solutions Worldwide LLC, and authorize the CEO to exercise the 2 1-year options for a total contract amount not to exceed $396,000. This amount includes 15% contingency. I forgot to mention it, I'm looking down at Debbie. We save, by going through competition and not just using the same vendor that we could have, that's on state contract, et cetera, we were able to garner over almost $100,000 savings by going out to market. So if you have any questions, once again, recommend approval of a 1-year contract with 2 1-year options to Technology Solutions Worldwide LLC, and authorize the CEO to exercise the 2 1-year options for a total contract amount not to exceed $396,000. And again, this amount includes 15% contingency, and that contingency is just in case our license amount increases, or there's some other softwares that Microsoft and Ms. Harris would like to add to our portfolio. If there's any questions, myself or Cassie will be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Al. Any, Commissioner Breezy?
I'm familiar with these kind of processes, but just confirming, so this is strictly for Microsoft Office licenses, correct? And so because we're using the reseller, we're able to get a cheaper price than going straight to Microsoft Government Finance,
Yes, sir, exactly.
That's it.
Commissioner Walker?
The incumbent was SHI, you
Correct, sir.
said, okay.
Commissioner Walker.
And just in terms of, I understand value-added reseller. And I do recognize the fact that the savings on this is significant, but I'm just kind of curious about the technical evaluation criteria and how that was measured.
When you say technical evaluation criteria,
Well, I'm assuming that there was, a technical approach that was provided in the proposal
Based on price.
or past performance.
so this was an invitation for bid, and with the invitation for bid model is strictly off of price. With the licenses that we requested in the schedule, there's a part number associated with each license. So with that, because it's a part number, they can't deviate from and offer something other than that. As a matter of responsibility, that's what we checked, and they are a value-added reseller, and you have to be certified by Microsoft in order to become with that. So in essence, that was our vetting process, that they are a value-added reseller, along with our traditional background checks that we do.
Perfect. Yeah, no further questions.
Any additional questions?
Yeah.
Commissioner McCann?
Thank you. Do we have any insight into why Technology Solutions was able to offer a bid that was $100,000 cheaper than the other ones? Sometimes a bid being too low could be red flags.
And as soon as I saw the gap in the pricing, my spidey senses went up, and I was like, contracting officer, you need to do this, and this, and they did. One of the things that with being a value-added reseller, different tier levels of a VAR are able to offer different discounts where someone else might not be able to. So it's based on the volume of sales that the value-added reseller has, and traditionally they pass that on sometimes up to $50,000, 50% cheaper than their competitors. So it's a business decision that the company makes on how much they wanna lower their, what I'll call catalog pricing by. In Technology Solutions, they were more aggressive than the other ones. I hope that offers some type of explanation.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Al? Seeing none, may I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
First and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Al, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members.
Finally, Diane Randall, our Director of Risk Management, is gonna come up and talk to us about claim settlements. Hi, Diane.
Good morning. I'm here this morning to obtain approval for settlements with two claimants, Blanca Patoja and Iris Patoja. It's a mother and daughter. On January 1st, 2023, they were both on a bus sitting in the middle facing seats, side facing seats. And the bus operator made a hard stop. Mrs. Iris slid down the seat and hit the wheel well behind the driver. Her daughter got up to help her. The bus operator left his seat without engaging the emergency brake, and the bus started to roll forward, so he had to jump back into the seat, resulting in a second hard stop. As a result, both were injured. Blanca, who is the daughter, was 48 at the time, and she sustained injuries to her neck, back, and shoulder, with medical costs of approximately $32,000. Iris Patancha was 69 at the time of the accident. She sustained injuries to her head, neck, back, and left side of her body from shoulder down to her knee. Her medical costs were approximately $40,000. Both settlements are in the amount of $75,000 each and are within the established claim file reserves for both. Both of these cases are litigated, so settling this ends our liability on these two cases. So my request is for you to approve a claim settlement in the amount of $75,000 with Blanca Patancha and $75,000 with Iris Patancha. I'll be happy to take any questions.
And those are two distinct separate settlement amounts.
Yes.
Okay.
So I
So
mean,
I'd like
together
to-
it's $150,000, so
thank
it's
you.
75 each.
Anybody have any questions?
If you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Were we able to, as part of our evaluation, view video from
Yes.
inside the bus
Yes.
and see the
She
incident?
hit very hard. She's a small woman, Ms. Iris is, and she hit very hard. Her face hit the railing, but the whole side of her body hit the wheel well there. And then with the second hard stop, Blanca was up trying to help her and she went down as a result of that second stop.
Thank you.
There will be one other case. There were actually 4 claims as a result of this. We settled one within our risk management authority. And there's one more that we're trying to settle and it'll probably be here after the first of the year. I'll probably be before you again.
Thank you, Diane. Any additional questions for Diane? Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to recommend approval of the settlements?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. First and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Julie Lupus, gonna give us our financial report.
Good morning, I'm Julie Lupus, Director of Accounting.
Morning, Julie.
You've got September's drafts financials in front of you, so looking at these, we finished with an 8.2 million net deficit, which was 1.9 million unfavorable to the budgeted deficit. Revenue is 379,000 unfavorable to budget, driven by the timing of state grants. Expenses are 1.5 million unfavorable to budget, driven by fringes, supplies, and utilities. When we turn to the September year-to-date financials, we finished with a 710,000 net surplus, which was 522,000 favorable to the budgeted surplus. Revenue is 6 million unfavorable to budget, driven again by the timing of state and federal grants. Expenses are 6.5 million favorable to budget, pretty much across the board with only a few exceptions to that. And I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Thank you, Julie. Any questions?
Just in terms of the state and federal grants revenue, was any of that, well, I'm assuming, it looks like federal grants actually was not unfavorable, but state was. Was there anything about the government shutdown that may have impacted that?
Great question, and no, we are actually shifting this money and the timing into this fiscal year, fiscal 26, so that we can have a balanced budget. So it's just a matter of time moving that over into this fiscal year. The shutdown really hasn't affected us. FTA did not shut down, which is where we get the majority of our reimbursements from. So that was good news for us.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Sure, I'll have a question.
Oh, go for it.
What could cause $1 million increase in the fringe benefits in 1 month?
That is a really great question, because during the course of the year, there are several entries that only happen in September every year. So September sometimes feels the effect more than other months of the activity that is going on. So we have some some actuarial assumptions and reports that we get that have entries there. We have the yearly retirement and compensated absences and things like that bring fringes up in September.
So maybe in the next few months, we'll see that be a positive number, like it'll be less than it's supposed to be.
Actually, yeah, October was looking good. We-
Yeah.
I mean, if you look on the next page at the year-to-date on
Year to
fringe, it's
date
actually
is
below budget.
right.
Oh, it's this period, okay.
Right, it's
It says
just you're
month of
seeing it in the
September
month
on there, I
of
was just trying to figure out how that could happen in a month.
Yeah.
Alright.
Any more questions? Commissioner, you looking for something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right. Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you so much, Julie. Debbie will come up and outline the quarterly reports for us.
Thank you. Every quarter, we provide a number of reports that are in your package, including our capital reports. Significantly large volume there of various things that we're working on. We also have our fuel report. One of the things I'd like to point out in our fuel report is that when we compare on a year-to-year basis, we are actually seeing on fuel alone about a $920,000 savings. Now, we had the buses coming in faster, the hybrids and the electrics, than we had anticipated, which is helping to drive that. And Commissioner Hazelton, to your point, we also see an increase in the, what we call propulsion power for electric. And that has gone up more than what we had anticipated in our budget. But on a year-to-year basis, it's gone up around $614,000. On a net basis, we're seeing about $305,000 worth of savings, both looking at the savings in fuel compared to increased costs in propulsion power. So I thought that was an interesting one to point out. We also have in there our investments and reserve reports. And as far as health insurance goes, Trish Collins is here to answer any questions, but we're definitely seeing a favorable trend over last year.
That's good.
I'm gonna put you in the hot spot.
Single seat. We found.
That's because finance is the best committee ever.
So popular. Well, good morning, everyone. I'll
morning.
just briefly cover what you can see in your packet as a report of the year-to-date health insurance report. It covers the entirety of FY '25. At the top, you'll see in rows 1 through 6, there's a comparison between FY '25 and the previous year, FY '24. With some key statistics regarding employee distribution among the 3 plans that we offer. But the key thing that I want to point out there is that the loss ratio improved by nearly 6 percentage points to 87% over the course of fiscal year 2025. That's a good thing. That means that as that loss ratio comes down, as we can drive it down, we are likely to see more favorable renegotiated prices for the next plan year. You can see in the middle section, numbers 7, 8, and 9, the percent of total claims paid and how that's distributed amongst the 3 plans. And then in row 11, the total plan funding premiums paid, the 10.96 million, which was within our budget. I'll point out that we are looking now at our strategy for FY '26 and additional ways to help drive the costs of the plan down, which of course has the additional benefit of improving the health and wellness of our employees, which then also leads to greater attendance and other bottom line benefits for PSTA. So my colleague Carla Bird, who heads up our benefits program, is currently developing a strategy for this year's programming to include a focus on preventative care, chronic disease management, and really focusing on those folks who are managing things like diabetes and high blood pressure and making sure that they're taking care of their wellness visits and taking their prescription medications appropriately. And then other wellness challenges that we'll launch throughout the year that focus on weight management, healthy diet, and things like physical exercise. So very pleased with the numbers this year for the results of the plan and looking forward to having another great plan where we promote wellness and hopefully drive improved plan costs for the year.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Next, does any committee member have any other business to bring before the committee? All right. Seeing none, our next finance committee meeting is Wednesday, January 21st at 9 a.m. So until next year, and on behalf of myself, I'd like to wish everybody a very, very happy Thanksgiving to you and your families, and we are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.